We are all
All right,
unleashed. Welcome, welcome, and welcome. I have my man, Lev Parnas, and the one, the only, Malcolm Nance. That's right. We've got Malcolm here. That's right. The crowd is going wild for Malcolm Nance. The crowd's going wild for Lev Parnas. And me, well, not as many, but a few.
Yeah, you're here too.
That's right. I'm here as well.
I've been here. You've been very controversial this week, Michael. So
Yeah. Good luck to all them. I don't know if you guys heard. Reese, just now, it appears that there's an indictment that was just dropped on Eric Swalwell. Eric Swalwell is the next yes regarding mortgage fraud. There's an allegation that
this mortgage fraud bullshit. It's like they can't even be creative to find something else on everybody. Everyone did mortgage fraud.
It's like taxes, anybody could get taxes, or or lying on your credit report, or I mean, it's like we have so many different laws, and that, I mean, if they really want to go after you, money laundering, wire fraud.
Well, that's what happens when they hit you up with a mortgage fraud. It's also wire fraud, bank fraud. So it literally tacks on more and more and more. You know, what they're claiming is that, as we all know, Eric Swalwell has a home in California, which is where he resides. But he also resides in Washington, D.C. And so there's some new theory that somebody came up with that only one property could be your primary. I'm not so sure that that's going to work as it relates to Congress, because you're talking about 500 plus individuals. Each and every one of them can be charged with basically the same thing. If they end up taking a mortgage out on their apartment or their home in DC and they say it's a primary, well, is it the primary, or do you have to declare your primary in the state that you come from? It seems to be a terrible stretch, but it costs a fortune. It costs a fortune because they don't stop, and they'll let it go all the way to the end. So basically, hold on to your wallets, fellas, because this shit is real.
So this is done just to sort of impoverish them by making a bullshit claim and making them defend it?
Well,
is that what this is about?
Well, let me say I don't know what it's about because I'm not there on the inside, but certainly as somebody who has gone through it myself, remember, I got sued for $500 million for defamation. It cost over $370,000 to defend, that case, which Trump, with his lawyers, they ultimately backed out of. They dropped the case before the judge made a ruling. It still costs.
Right.
And
I also went through when Devin Nunes sued me he sued me and CNN for $400 million. He sued us for.
Yeah, but the problem here is, the problem here is that the way that social media now works, they could raise $500,000 in no time. Eric Swalwell, if he goes, I have a Donald Trump defense fund, he's going to have $1 million in a week.
Well,
so
maybe, things aren't so great. And you know what? There are a lot of people that will donate. There's no doubt about that. But people are shy to ask. They are. That they're as a member of Congress. They'll ask for their campaign. But I'm not so sure.
Swalwell is shy to ask.
He's not shy to ask.
Yeah.
He'd be like, $20 from everybody to kick Donald Trump's ass. He'll have $20 million.
Swalwell will collect more money. He'll retire. He's not going to be a congressman after this. Look at Michael Wolff. Look, I mean, I don't. That's another something we could go into.
Well, let's go. Hold on, Lev.
Let's go.
Let's get into it. All right. Let's get into it because it is the biggest story right now in the country. Hard to imagine that the biggest story is this. Why the fight is, like so many people, my Substack this morning, again, was about the Epstein files with those emails that came out yesterday. I called mine Panic Writes Its Own Confession. You see,
Yeah, I
here's the
read
thing
that.
I don't understand. All right. They tried Trump, his fixers, his whisperers, the whole oily cast of characters. They leaned hard on Congress members Lauren Boebert, Nancy Mace, and others, literally calling in every favor, calling it threats and carrots that they could find to get these guys to back off and to remove their name from the discharge petition. But it didn't work. Neither woman flinched. Then
Mhm.
Adelita Grijalva shows up. She takes her
218.
oath,
Boom.
and with a single pen stroke, she made it official. Epstein filed petition, hit the 218 signature that was needed, and now it moves on to the Senate.
No, this is where it gets interesting. So let's
Okay.
think. Okay, so first let's
Tell
take a
us.
step back. Trump hasn't stopped pushing. The push is on full blast. I just got off the phones, and not only because the vote is happening in a week. So they
Right.
didn't vote. So in a week, they actually have to vote. The petition, they sign everything. But in a week is when it goes and all of these, and that's when Mace, Bobart, and they're going to have to go
Right.
up there, Marjorie, and
Right.
make the vote.
Right.
So for the next week, what I'm hearing is that their target is Mace, and the reason for it is it's sick.
Ooh.
It's sick to believe, yeah, and this is the sick part is because she's the most unstable one
No,
because right now
I was going to say that.
because this is the crazy part. I just literally got off the phone because of the shit she's going through. They feel that she herself has, certain conditions because of you saw the outrage she went through. All Mega themselves are saying, "What the hell?" She accused her ex-boyfriend of raping her. She went, and attacked, started screaming at TSA agents and made that whole thing about. So there's a sense that there could be enough pressure put on her, even though. She's the one that walked out of there crying, after speaking with the victim. So this is a tough one. But the contingency plan is he's already making calls to the Senate because after that, then it has to go to the Senate. And then after, if the Senate then approves it, then it goes to
It goes to
Donald
Trump for
Trump himself.
signature.
And what I heard, he literally said that the file, I could quote what was heard, is those files will not see the day of light. He does not want to be the one that signs the signature. He does not want to be the one to stop it. And that's why he's doing everything in his possible to be able to get it halted either somehow in the next week before the actual signatures go on, and also what's it called in the Senate. So, folks, as good as this is, like Michael said, we got the 218. We got right now the petition. Right now, Mace and Bobart and Green and all of them are standing strong. That's why we need to be now is the time to be even stronger, louder, do what we can
Angrier,
to
more
angrier,
vigilant, you
vigilant
name it.
to put the pressure and make sure it's out there. And and the first thing you go do, like my brother Malcolm says, is go hit that little gray button up there and make sure you cross pollinate and make sure you subscribe to all of us. Keep building the community. Next, you go keep hitting those hearts because the algorithms, that's how it works, folks. We're learning. The more hearts you hit, the more algorithm, the more people see it. Also, there's a button next to the hearts thing. It's a share button. You could take that share button, hit it, and share it with a friend or two or anybody you think that might be interested or should be listening to the facts and the truth that we're talking about here. So that's the first thing we all do to keep the pressure on. Go ahead, guys. I just wanted to make sure
What
we
I
put that in
wanted
there.
to finish saying was if this administration and this party were as innocent as they claim, because that's all you keep hearing. Nobody's been more transparent than the president. Nobody has been more forthcoming. If they were forthcoming, if they were transparent, if they were as innocent as they claim, they themselves would be leading the charge to release every page, every photo, every log, every name. Instead, they're literally sprinting in the opposite direction. They are making it virtually impossible. But I will tell you, especially if the 2026 midterms go as expected, this is not going to stop. They will drag um, what's her name, Pam Bondi, and everybody to a hearing, and if in fact they get a court order demanding the release of the file, let me be crystal clear, they don't do it, they're really putting themselves in massive, massive jeopardy. That I can assure you.
What'd you do to Malcolm?
I didn't do anything. Malcolm lost it.
I was gonna say, I said, what'd you do to Malcolm?
You guys were on such a rant, it blasted me out.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear.
Malcolm,
Yeah,
Malcolm, your thoughts.
Oh, well, first off, I missed sort of half of what you just said there, but I do have some thoughts. Okay. My biggest thought is that the Democrats are going to blow this. And here's why I say that. One, there are some people out there who were saying, let's move on this quickly. Let's try to get, as many, sticks into the fire as we can. But we don't have control of the House. We don't have control of the agenda. If they release the files, Trump is going to come out and all he's going to do, he's going to say, this is a lie. This is a Democratic host. And a good part of the MAGA base is just going to believe him. Now, the real fight is him getting this rumored 100 Republicans who may just actually decide to go along with the petition and demand the release of the files. He's got to break that. Because I'm sorry, if this tiny, tiny little 3 email trench that we've seen already is this damning, it tells you right off the bat, Ghislaine Maxwell is an absolute liar who needs to be returned back to to regular jail so that she can think about the lies that she did with maximum security. Todd Blanche is a liar. Donald Trump is now meeting. Here's the thing that got me. I tweeted about it today. Meets in the Situation Room of the White House with Todd Blanche, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Lauren Boebert. The one room, the room that they, bombed North Vietnam secretly in, the room that Bin Laden raid was carried out. To them, historically, covering up the Epstein file release was so historically significant. They held it in the Situation Room so no one would have any word or overhearing what was going on. But the fact that you go down into the Situation Room with Lauren Boebert tells you how terrified they are of what's in there based on what we've already seen. I mean, this could have been done in the Oval Office without, any worry. They're terrified. That's what that tells me.
Yeah. I mean,
what do you think?
I'm hearing the same exact thing. I'm hearing that right now they are beyond livid that they were not able to get at least 1 or 2 names removed from that list of 218. They're beyond furious. So the question that you really have to ask yourself is, when Trump when he fights this hard to keep something buried, it's not out of principle. It's simply because the truth, once it sees daylight, will absolutely be devastating. Now, here's the thing that I also want to explore for a second. We've all heard a multitude of theories. I'm not going to call them conspiracy theories. I'm going to call them just theories.
Okay.
I've heard it that his name is all over the place, that he's involved. I've heard theories that it's to protect Melania. We've all heard that it's theories in order to protect some of the foreign leaders of the world that Trump has been doing business with. We've heard that there's another theory that it's of course, some of his mega donors, and we know that as well. So the question really becomes, which one is true, or are all of them true?
Lev. No,
I picked all of the above.
Really?
Yeah, I pick all of the above because I think this is bigger than and one of them that is very important is which you said that a lot of people I think is Melania also is the cover up because even though I think what Wolff was talking about we didn't get and we'll get into the Wolff emails in a second and stuff like that, but I think the fact that going back to the lifestyle, the way they met, what happened, again, part of Donald Trump, everything he's doing since he's come into office is rewrite history. He's trying to change the way the insurrection looked. He wants changing the way the White House looks. He's trying to change who's the bad, the deep state, and everything else. This is part of it. This is part of it because of the way he met. If you take a look at all of the letters there, you see there's a little bit of everything. There's a little bit of extortion going on where he knows about where his introductions with Melania. There's a little bit of Trump being around some of these young girls at his house. There's a little bit about how even Wolff is telling him you could use this as your political clout. There's emails from the Israeli Ben Gur. I mean, you have, just like Michael said, you have a little bit of everything in there, and sometimes why can't it be and when you come to donors, let's not even talk about every donor and just look at what the Mellon family did a couple of days ago. And we know the Mellon Bank was involved in, investigated in a lot of the, Epstein stuff. So, I truly believe that, there's a lot more and a lot of the things than just Donald Trump that's involved in this. And it's a cater pub that's about to explode.
I've been on this podcast long enough with you two guys to know that to absorb a few things. And what you're talking about is a really, really, really narrow ledge on a very, 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 very tall building here. And to cover up and to hide and to say, hey, listen, I'm going to risk this presidency. I'm going to risk the optics of meeting in the Oval Office to desperately, desperately try to get Lauren Boebert to flip. You really think Donald Trump, the guy you worked with, will go out on that tiny ledge for a couple of donors?
No.
For Melania's welfare when they could just say, hey, that's all bullshit and cover it up? Or is it existential to Donald Trump and his myth? Because the phrase that's going to be out there isn't pedophile, it's going to be child rapist. And now this to me seems like a self-preservation move. If Trump does anything, it's going to be to save Trump, not to save anybody else.
Well, you're certainly not wrong about that. He's obviously...
I got that from you.
He's obviously, his self-motivation, for lack of a better term, trumps all. But if it's a secondary benefit to Melania, to the donors, to foreign leaders, yeah, I can see him putting it all together. Hey, can we talk for a few moments about Michael Wolff and the documents that were released yesterday? So 23,000 documents were released.
Oh, there were?
Yeah, 23,000 documents were turned over to the House Oversight Committee, 3 of which specifically named Trump in it. All right. 3 out of 23,000. In fact, while I wasn't put in there by name, there is an email between a woman by the name of Rumler, who is right now general counsel to Goldman Sachs, and Jeffrey Epstein, that dealt with 2 days after I pled, there was a New York Times article. She then sent that to him. There was some comment made about, how stupid it is to turn on your fixer, or this is what happens when your fixer turns on you, whatever it might be. I'm not 100% certain I understand the full context of that email. Maybe we'll get the one before it or 2 before it so I can make sense about why this woman, I think it's Kathleen Rumler, why in the world she's engaging Jeffrey Epstein in a conversation about a New York Times article. But the part that bothers me the most is two things. One, Michael Wolff has a treasure trove of documents and other sort of evidence that for whatever reason,
He's
he's
holding on to that
holding
shit.
on to. And I'm not sure I understand the reason why, other than to profit from it.
Yes.
Okay.
I
Then
think.
the second part that I want you guys to answer
Mhm.
is why only 3? Because none of those 3 were a smoking gun that, as far as I'm concerned, I found all 3 emails to be cryptic and one that can easily be manipulated either way. If you want to go north, you could go north on it. You want to go south, you could go south on it. Those cryptic emails were not explicit unless, of course, you have your own belief system. Go ahead,
Mm.
Lev.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to push back on that. I think if we take each email one by one and we dissect it, I think and let's do that. Pick an email, which one you want. Let's read it. Let's go over it and let's break it down because I think those emails and I think the reason why they were chosen. And I spoke to I did a live with Ben Midas a little while ago, and he just did a special. I gotta go take a look at that. He said that the whole 20,000 emails that they're exposing, all of them, and the more they keep coming out, the more I'm starting to see. I mean, my head keeps even flipping more and more. I mean, that we don't even. We'll talk about. I want to ask Malcolm in a little bit about the one with how he was right before the Helsinki meeting, telling the former ambassador that he could tell Putin how to manipulate Trump. He has the goods on him. But let's put that aside. Go ahead, Michael. Pick anyone you want.
So let's go with the January 31, 2019 email from Jeffrey Epstein to Michael Wolff.
Right.
The name of the victim is blacked out, says Mar-a-Lago. Then there's a little blackout half sentence. Trump said he asked me to resign. Never a member ever. Of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. That's the one that everybody thinks has the most significance to it. You agree with that?
Well,
I
it's
don't. I,
pretty.
don't-
I
go
think
ahead,
we
Michael.
have to know the context also.
Right.
That sounds to between you and me, as somebody who listened to headphones and actually monitored how people spoke. That one tells me about the fight over Virginia Giuffre, who was a 15-year-old masseuse at Mar-a-Lago,
And others.
that supposedly broke their relationship, and that Ghislaine Maxwell was the one that supposedly delivered the news to Donald. Donald was mad over that. But until this is all put into context, every email tells us about the mindset of Jeffrey Epstein. I don't think that you can just pick one little thing out. He could have been talking about, well, he did this and he was over there, with these 14-year-old hookers. And if the name Trump doesn't come up, you're not going to be able to divine that until you've read all of those emails. And you're a lawyer. You understand.
That's the point why every single time that we end up talking about this, all 3 of us in unison say the same thing. Release the fucking file.
Release all the
unredacted, so that we can make sense of what this is about. Because you could turn around and it would be a fair assumption to say he knew about the girls. He asked Ghislaine to stop. The question becomes, stop what? Stop stealing the girls from my Mar-a-Lago? Stop pushing girls onto my lap, trying to set me up? I mean, he could say anything that they want. He could turn around and stop.
Which is why he had all the lawyers in the situation room to come up with an excuse.
Yeah.
And like you said,
and that's the problem. The email is very cryptic. It doesn't, there's no real specificity to it. Now, tell Ghislaine to stop. How about stop charging shit to my account because Jeffrey Epstein isn't a member of Mar-a-Lago?
Right. Yeah,
but again, yeah, go ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
That's a long. Again, we're talking some very thin ledges here.
That's okay.
And Donald, and I think that, and this is where I think back to your question about Michael Wolff. All right. No one is Michael Wolff is the guy who has that tiny single room grocery store on a corner in the middle of 50 skyscrapers. He is waiting for the right number to drop. And that number is, for him to actually have to, one, in this environment, possibly risk his life,
Well,
and where that number had better start with 7, what are we talking? 9 figures, right?
well,
50 million, 100
listen.
million for him to drop his dimes and to let everything out. You can't tell me he's not. But you know what? He's every day, one day away from having an accident in front of the metro in New York, right? So not from Trump, from fucking crazy people that are out there that are invested in Trump. So if I was Michael Wolff, I'd start figuring out which publishing house and which movie documentary studio is ready to put up the big figures. Why? What did somebody say? Did I miss something?
No, I'm just saying to you, I don't know if, in the environment we live, I don't know if any of those movie studios ever would even touch him right now. They're all scared of Donald Trump right now. It's so crazy,
Somebody will. A French production company that could be Zembla, the guys that did mine. Hey, a Palme d'Or is as good as an Oscar now.
Look, we know, you could tell where, Michael Wolff. I have not met him. I was on one live with Michael when Michael brought me up when you guys were doing that live. We were supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
It's so hilarious that I actually was trying to get in touch with Michael Wolff. I was going to do a live a day prior to. I was reaching out to. Remember, Michael? I said, "Let me."
I know. I gave you all the contact info that I have.
And he's never contacted, never came back. And I from everybody, I'm
not
hearing,
enough ducats, baby.
Well, no, he's gone dark, because you got to understand. I mean, listen, in those emails, you're seeing what Michael Wolff's relationship with Epstein was. It was a lot more than just somebody that was writing a book. It was also they were doing business together. Michael Wolff also is now literally counseling and telling him. Just think about this. He's counseling Epstein, this pedophile, this guy that's supposed to be works for all the, and you got Michael Wolff telling him how he could use this information that Trump is going to deny or go around to be able to have political advantage over the possibly next president of the United States.
Or to use it in order to get a PR or a better deal for himself. I mean, I found that to be very disturbing.
Everyone's doing that stupid
I've had Michael Wolff on my podcast, Mea Culpa, twice.
Right.
I've had him twice on Substacks. And we talked about this. Never did he ever disclose to me that he had counseled as a crisis manager or legally advising Jeffrey Epstein what to do with some of the information that Epstein had against Trump.
It's crazy.
The first part, again, maybe you could use it to better yourself PR-wise for a better deal. Or in the alternative, if Trump should win the election, you could use it as a debt, meaning a get-out-of-jail-free card. That's pretty fucked up, if you ask me. All right. And I think that's why Michael Wolff right now is, no, he's not a snake. No. Michael Wolff.
I'm reading these.
Yeah, Michael Wolff is not a snake. He's actually a decent guy, though I think he is completely over his skis on this one. All right. There are people that would love to track him down. There are people that would love to, on behalf of Trump, take him out. And so he is nervous. He has expressed his anxiety over all of this, at least to me, going back several months.
Well, the man is, somebody said on here, I'm reading all the comments if you see me looking down. Somebody said he was on the Daily Beast yesterday.
Oh, he was?
That's what it says. People, I can understand him wanting to keep his profile high without saying a word, But if this is really about, which we all know, it's got to be about money. There is no other reason why Michael Wolff would not be talking. He's been tiny dripping and hinting at things. Does he feel that he's waiting for a real giant a Democratic Congress run investigation? Because they will rip him apart in an only Republican investigation. They'll limit what he can talk about. And, he had better come in with freaking videotapes, and audio recordings from the 1980s, which had better be definitive. Because as some MAGA guy put up there today, he was like 2016, and they have every year crossed out some scandal that Trump got away with. And they were like, oh, this is your new one now. Hey, Trump, this is not, no one went back into the 80s in time, and secret Barack Obama in high school was trying to implicate Trump.
So I'm glad you bring stuff like that up, the 80s, the 90s, the time, early 2000, early 2000. And so
scared shitless, yeah.
Let me say that according to Michael Wolff, that the reason that Trump and Wolff ended up, that Trump and Epstein ended their relationship or their friendship, whatever that friendship looked like, was not over stealing Virginia Giuffre from Mar-a-Lago. Supposedly, according to Michael Wolff, the house that Trump bought in Palm Beach on South Ocean for like $40 million, and then we sold it for $95 million.
Right.
That property was owned by the same guy, a friend of Jeffrey Epstein's, Les Wexner, who then sold it to somebody, and now it was up for foreclosure. That Trump was asked by Epstein to go and to evaluate the house for him, tell him how to do the foreclosure so that he gets the property. He wanted it. Instead, Trump stole it for himself, slapped on a couple of coats of paint, and then a couple of years later ended up selling it to Dmitry Rybolovlev, who happens to be an oligarch. All right.
Right.
That's what ended up, my understanding, and from Michael Wolff, ended the relationship. The reason I bring up the 80s, the 90s, and the early 2000s is to sort of answer a statement, a question, a comment by Dawn Petty and several others. So Dawn Petty, yes, I worked for Trump for 12 plus years. Did I know any of this was going on? When Trump was initially, as the allegations are raised, involved with Epstein in the 90s, or I should say the late 80s, I was in my senior year of college. The 90s, I was in law school up and through 91. I didn't come into Trump's orbit until late 2005, and I didn't come to his employ until 2007. There was no talk about this. I never met Jeffrey Epstein. I never spoke to Jeffrey Epstein. I had no interaction with Jeffrey Epstein. I don't even know if I've ever even been in the same restaurant as Jeffrey Epstein. So my point is no. The answer is no. All of this preceded me. All right. And by the way, it's one of the reasons I also want the entire file to be released, unredacted in its entirety, so I could put stupid comments like that to rest once and for all. The same sort of stupid shit that like Tara Palmieri spews about me all the time. It's, people are trying to claim, oh, she's the Jeffrey Epstein whisperer. She makes bullshit up. She has no idea what she's. She has no inside information from anyone or from anything. She takes what she reads, she puts a nice little twist on it to sell herself as this whisperer. And stupid people follow along. And they're like, yeah, she knows what she's talking about. No, she doesn't.
So, hey, what is your beef with Tara Palmieri?
I don't have a beef. She came on. No, you two clowns. I had her on my Substack. And she starts accusing me of this whole Katie Johnson thing. I have no idea who Katie Johnson is. I've never dealt with Katie Johnson. Katie Johnson's lawyer is Lisa Bloom, who's the daughter of Gloria Allred. I dealt with a Jane Doe different state, different time. Jane Doe didn't exist. That's why that case got dismissed. There was no Jane Doe. It was somebody pulling a shtick. They got these two idiot lawyers to go ahead and to file a complaint. The complaint, had no specifics. When I asked the lawyer, by the way, have you ever met your client? The answer was no. I said, what do you mean you never met your client? How'd you sign up the papers? Through the mail to a P.O. box. You ever find out who owned that P.O. box? Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. The property that Jane Doe allegedly lived at was a vacant lot. So 3 days later, lo and behold, the lawyer drops the case. I had no involvement in threatening anybody or intimidating. Do you really think that I wouldn't say something? I basically exposed everything else. Why would I not say this? Stupids. Anyway, I want to go back to this Kathy Rumler. All right. Kathy Rumler, again, is right now general counsel. Imagine this, to Goldman Sachs. The final comment in this was between, again, Jeffrey Epstein and Kathy Rumler, where he turns around and says, and I thought this was rather interesting. He says, I know how dirty Donald is. My guess is that non-lawyers, New York biz people, have no idea what it means to have your fixer flip. That's the extent of how my name falls into these to that email.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, this requires an enormous amount of freaking context. I'm looking some of the stupid comments that are going down there. A good reason that we should move comments to paid subscribers only. And I'm seeing a theme down there. You just explained how you were still in college when a lot of this stuff was going on. And everybody, there's this gap in history that people think that Donald Trump was only, a businessman, only doing dealings in New York City in the last 25 years. The man's 80 years old. There is an entire history of Donald Trump, and I'm certain enormous amounts of Trump fuckery that we don't have documentation on, but that this could shed a light into. And, I think that Donald Trump was probably like a lot of these other narcissists. They stovepiped a lot of things. There are things that
when he allegedly, according to that list, when he allegedly dealt with and paid off the first person, I was attending my fraternity prom formal. I mean, seriously, I mean, it's time for people to wake up and understand. I didn't know Donald Trump my entire life. I came into his orbit late 2005 over a condo fight. All right, over a condo building fight. I wasn't in the inner circle on that. I came into his employ in 2007. And by the way, I have never shied away ever from speaking truth to power on anything that I did. You see, unlike a lot of the folks like Atara, I actually testified 7 times before Congress. 7. All right. I was the key witness in 2 cases, and I was subpoenaed as well for the grand juries on it. I assure you, there's nothing that I didn't answer. You're not going to see. You can Google it for yourself where I took the 5th. I certainly could have, but I did not. What I know, I know. What I don't, I don't. And I'm not going to make up bullshit like other people in order to, I don't know, give people a stiffy. I just won't do it.
Well, so I say this, Michael. If you guys just, I know it's frustrating, but you can't let it get to you. If I was you, if you want to get out Substacks, the plays, bring her on here, and and break it down.
I wouldn't waste my time. She's a fraud.
Next, move on. Next, I say let's move on. Let's rock and roll and talk about what really is going on. The fact that, like we started, Donald Trump. This is, you're not there. These Epstein files have to do with Donald Trump, the president of the United States. Yes, Michael. This is not about you. They're not there. So the people that keep trying to drag you into this has nothing to do with Michael Cohen, guys. This has to do with Donald Trump, the president of the United States. His name is all over it. And let's talk about a simple fact for a second, which is extremely important in that email where, he talks about saying that, listen, I don't understand how I think it's a 2011 email after he got prosecuted when when he sends it to Maxwell, talking about how Trump spent plenty of time and hours in his house with this victim. This victim we know that is now Virginia Giuffre. It's a very important email, I think, that we need to discuss, because that one really blows Trump up in a lot of ways. Because the one thing that Trump has been saying the past several months, and even you, Michael, were talking about, saying, I've never been on the island. I've never been on the island. And we spoke about it because he set up, because he knew he was never on the island. But he never said he was never in his house.
Right.
And now we're starting,
Mhm.
and now we're starting to see the relationship was a lot closer in Palm Beach. That he spent time, and I think the email, if you really want to put it in context a little bit, is I think Epstein is starting to realize that Trump might have been the one that helped the investigation against him with Acosta going back earlier,
Yeah.
and where he's now confused, saying, well, how come he wasn't brought in? And that is also where I think we should connect the dots, because right after, who became the Secretary of Labor in 2000 was
Right.
Acosta.
Right.
One of the additional, Lev, conspiracy theories or theories that's out there is that Trump was an informant, that he was an
Oh, that's
FBI
what they say.
informant, and that no, serious.
No,
It
yeah.
wasn't just starting with Jeffrey Epstein.
No,
It
no, it was
preceded Jeffrey Epstein dealing with the mob. That there's
with the
a lot of information that may be in that file that links him as an informant. And that's why it was so easy for him to reach out to the feds, to the FBI, and to deal with Jeffrey Epstein the way that he did. That's what another theory is all about. And again, we can come up with, what's his name, Harlan Corbin theories all day long. That would make for great Netflix shows beyond belief. But here's the thing. I fucking hate conspiracy or these type of innuendo theories. There is a file that is yay fucking thick. We saw Pam Bondi and the rest of those moron enablers holding those books, those binders over their head, screaming. It said Epstein File 1, Epstein File 2. Great. Release the files. Let us read. Because one promise that I make to every single one of you, we have about close to 2,000 people with us. Every one of you, I'm making a promise. I have read, and I will continue to ensure I read every single piece of paper, and anything that I think is relevant, even if it's only this relevant, I will bring it to you. And between myself, Malcolm, and Lev, you're not going to get a better understanding, a better interpretation on what the hell is going on here than from the three of us.
True. Yep.
Yeah,
Period.
no, 100%. And I think it's going to get interesting, because, like I said, from what I'm hearing, he is going to do everything in his power, to the fact that even if it comes on his desk, to try to sign off and not allow those files. Because again, these files that we're seeing, these are from the Epstein, what's it called? The family trust, or this is the
Right.
Epstein. This is, so these
Estate
are
of Jeffrey Epstein.
estate, exactly, the Jeffrey Epstein estate. So for you to understand that this is not even the criminal or the DOJ stuff that they have on him. This is his personal stuff that is part of his estate. So the fact that all of those files that were then, remember, these were not the files that were being scrubbed by the DOJ, by the FBI. Remember the 1,000 agents that were scrubbing Trump's name? These weren't there. Those files, we have a lot of still scrubbing this. So there's a lot more to this that's going to take place. And that's why, again, I mean, we need to keep demanding, like Michael said, we need to see all of the files. Obviously, that would be reality. But I'm going to be, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't believe we're going to see all the files. I don't think, I truly believe that.
I do.
I think they're being already manipulated. I think they're already being, I mean, I truly, knowing these people the way I know them, I don't believe that they don't play fair. They don't, I'm saying to you, they don't play the same way. If it's like they feel that if they feel like someone's coming in, they'll press the button to torch the place down, type of a situation, because they know what's to come. So I hope, I pray we see it. But I'll tell you this, and this is why I keep saying it. Where me and you, I think, differ a little bit. Yes, as a lawyer, I think you're 100% right, and I think for a factual case, we need to see the files to say 100% this is who it was, this is what happened, so we could put the story to bed forever. But I think in reality, we all are common sense human beings. I think that with all the evidence we've already seen, with all the actions and reactions that we are watching play out and seeing, I think we could make enough sense to come to a conclusion and say that no matter how bad it is bad enough that he should not be the president of the United States. It is bad enough that he should not that be in charge of releasing or not releasing these files. It's already so that what I'm saying to you is this: that yes, do we need context of both emails to see how can you frame it? Yes, can you stretch it as any good lawyer could stretch any of those emails and make it look one way or the other? I agree with you, but if you take all of those emails, if you take all of the action that's been going on, if you take a look at the fact that Maxwell is sitting with a puppy getting room service. Michael, did you get room service in prison? I didn't get room service in prison.
I did. I did. I did. The room service I got was what's called a tear down, where they would take my locker, flip it upside down, then take my bed and throw it on the floor. That's what I got. I didn't get food brought to me. In fact, I was deprived of food for the first 3 days after they brought me back from the unconstitutional remand.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think that I had a very different experience than Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, you could argue that you both have concierge service. They just concierge your ass every day with a beat down. This thing she's getting, look, this is as dirty as it comes. She has the warden filing her petitions. She has unlimited use of internet systems, laptops, iPads when her family visits, and she has private yoga. I mean, why are we not screaming to the high heavens about this? She's dirty.
We are, but the sad part is people there. Even I was on X a few hours ago, right before we went on. I was just going through some of the stuff just to see what MAGA is all about, and it's interesting how the attacks on Todd Blanche are all over the place. MAGA is all over him. They're attacking him. They're saying this. What kind of interview did you do? She lied. This and that. And instead of being reactive and saying, yes, we got her dead to rights. She lied to us here. Go pick her up, throw in her. He's defending it. He's defending her, defending the conversation. They're defending it, and they're allowing it to take place. And I tell you, from what I'm hearing inside of somebody that's close to the Maxwell camp, is there is no more waiting there. She's putting tremendous pressure, and not even on a commutation, on a pardon. She wants out of the country.
She's putting pressure up.
Yeah. Big time.
But we talked about this once before. There ain't no place on this planet she's safe.
Well, I don't know. She wants out of this country. I could tell you this much. It's a big world out there, Malcolm. I don't know and the
but
finances.
If he does anything that stupid, you're talking releasing the largest pedophile ring in American history, the surviving person. There's no election big enough that a Republican could stand and win on that.
I agree.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But listen,
they will hang pedophile protector, child rapist protectors out there. And Megyn Kelly trying to explain it away, that there's a difference between a 15-year-old and 8-year-old. I'm sorry. Well, there's no way out of that trap.
That is why.
And
I truly believe that
getting her into Argentina, which is where I suspect they would allow her to go, where all fugitives go, she would start dropping dimes. Oh, yeah, he was there. I did him. She's got to make money somehow, unless he's going to create an account for her where she gets $1 million a month to shut up. She can have an unfortunate trolley accident.
No, Malcolm, it's bigger than that, because I'll tell you, because
Okay,
I'm telling you, I'll tell you, because take a look. I always say, don't look at the actions, what transpired. What happened 2 weeks ago? All of a sudden, out of the blue, they decided to strip Andrew of his what's it called?
The Brits have some information we don't have. All his titles.
Well, exactly, of all his titles, and this is key. The information, Malcolm, is we gotta remember who Maxwell was, who her father was, and her relationship to the monarchy and to Andrew himself. So what I'm saying to you is, what I'm hearing is that she's not sitting tight. She's not sitting quiet, and the Brits acted on it. Trump is not. Trump is going full force, because Trump is, and Michael, you know better than anybody, he will never admit that he was wrong. He'll never admit, take it back. See where the Brits are taking the step and saying, look, it is what it is. We're distancing ourselves from him. Trump would never distance himself from himself. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
I want to just ascribe to what Malcolm just said, and I agree with you 100% on that, Malcolm. There's no place in the world that would be safe for her, and not so much from somebody that wants to do her physical harm to take her out. I'm talking about, imagine someone like Vladimir Putin getting his hands on her and getting her to spill the beans on everything, where documents are, dates, times, the whole 9 yards, to have compromise over Trump at this point in time. It's a very significant thing when you have somebody's foot on a concrete block and you're holding a hammer right above their toe. Right? Yeah. So either you tell me the truth, or, let's just make your pinky toe into a pancake. That's okay. There's 9 more for you to smarten up and tell us everything we know. By the way, I saw that on one of these Netflix shows. It looked
just FYI.
It looked like kind of fucked up, right?
If you want to,
the guy's fucking toes and shit. Trust me, she'll give it up along with whatever else that they would want from her. She'd give it up 1, 2, 3.
Video recordings of her dropping dimes. Don't, verified non-AI with journalists in the room. Yeah, but, the torture doesn't actually work, by the way. Threat of torture really works.
Much more.
So, for her, and I suspect that the only safe place that she could go is to Argentina, but they have a free press down there, too. And, of course, that's the sort of place Trump would...
There's also access to having, Russian KGB guys show up there and somehow manage to escort her out of the country.
Oh, yeah. Right? She could suddenly find herself on a rush flight out of Argentina or wherever, and then an official announcement that she only feels safe in the Russian Federation. Yeah. And now you've got double freaking bind. And they're going to, how Putin is. He's a human intelligence manipulator. He'll drop hints. He'll drop hints to Donald like, oh, my God, Donald, I'm going to protect you.
Lev's not you.
Lev, you know you.
I love you guys. I love you guys, but they already have. Just listen to the emails that they've been going on since 2018. The Russians have got enough stuff on Donald Trump. They got more people. They got just one of their guys, Sergey Gore, is now the what's it called, ambassador to India. Yeah. He was in charge of hiring. I mean, look. It's a lot deeper. It's a lot farther. Donald, and that is why Donald acts the way he acts with the Russians. I mean, when all of this blows up and comes out, I mean, it's a separate conversation for a separate live that we're going to do. But a lot of the stuff that Donald and the relationship, that way Russia treated Donald after he married Ivana, is extraordinary. I mean, and that's why there's a difference. And Malcolm, you might be able to talk on it better than anybody else, because there's different ways of doing work. They didn't. A lot of people say that he was working for the Russians. What I'm finding out is he wasn't working for the Russians. The Russians were basically watching every step he was making and
working
basically
around him.
are working around him, correct, allowing him to use his greed, feeding
They
him,
they
sending him people.
the technical term is they built a worldview frame around Donald Trump,
Exactly.
and
That's
it's
what
the
exactly.
Russian frame. Everything
Exactly.
All
he
right.
sees goes through Moscow's eyes.
All righty.
That's exactly
So
what I'm hearing.
Malcolm,
All right.
Malcolm, final thoughts.
Final thoughts, man. This TV show is awesome, and I want to hear it. Can't get enough analysis of this, so I wish you guys would do a couple of more lives out there and give me on this, because I was gonna, this week we were gonna talk, talk about our Project 2027, but this story is going to be the heart of Trump's legacy. There will not, I'll tell you what, there will not be a Donald Trump elementary school built outside of Buenos Aires.
Well, there'll be several in Buenos Aires, I can tell you that much.
And Lev, do your thing. Take us out.
Folks, listen, what we've been watching transpire since November 4th. When we saw Tuesday, those elections, that was the people coming out and the people speaking. And this is exactly what we're talking about. This is when the world spoke. We came out, it wasn't a wave, it was a tsunami, it was an earthquake. And we were riding the wave until we had 8 traders, 8 people that came out there for whatever reason, decided to try to stop the momentum and try to go out there and kill everything that was going on. But that didn't stop, because the next day the Epstein files came out, these emails that are allowing to keep the pressure on. The one thing I could tell you is the White House is in a panic. They're in a chaos. They're on their hind legs. They're on the defense. This is where we want to be. This is what we always talk about, and we need to keep on the defense. The way we keep them there is, first, we need to keep building this community. So you need to keep passing it on, keep subscribing, keep cross-pollinating, keep spreading the word. 2, you need to support us. Become paid subscribers if you can, because this is it. This is our full-time gig, to be able to save our democracy, to bring it to you, give you information that you're not going to see in the media. And also keep it for free for those that can't become paid subscribers, because the important part is this is not just a TV show. This is a show to try to save our democracy and get the information out far and wide. And last but not least, all of us out there are putting together projects independently. We have some ideas to go out there and save our democracy. Malcolm has this great idea, Project 2027. It's a name. We're going to see if that name sticks or it's a different name. But the idea of it is to be able to go out there and put a game plan together, and not just talk, but actually put action, to go out there and say, this is what, when we win the House, when we win the presidency, when we take over, this is what we're going to do. Just like they have Project 2025, we're going to have our own project. It's important, but all of that needs funding. I started, and I that's one of the things I did. I said, enough is enough. I spoke to our family, and we've decided I'm trying to build a team so we could go on the road. Me and Michael speak about it all the time. So I started up a GoFundMe. Those of you that know, if you want to, if you can, contribute, because part of it is to hire teams, publicists, PR, bookers, security, people to go, because doing this full time, to be able to get you the information that you need to be able to say, it takes hours, days. Sometimes I spend 18, 19 hours. Michael will tell you, wakes up 4 o'clock in the morning. Malcolm travels all over the place to be able, to get you the information. So we don't have the time to then coordinate and to do all these things. So that's the one thing they have over us, is they have unity and they have finances. And that's why we need your help with the support, with every way you can. And the other thing is, remember, we have no time. The midterms are right around the corner. They're a year away. So right now, I ask each and every one of you, go make sure you hit that button, subscribe to each and every one of us. If you can, become paid subscriber, and please support all the cause that you can. Malcolm's, Michael's, myself, others out there that are trying to do it. And hopefully, we're also going to unite all of this under defiance.org, something that Miles and they're doing. And this way, we could bring it under one tent and save our democracy. So, folks, do your thing.
Thank you all for joining us. Great audience today. Appreciate each and every one of you. Malcolm, Lev, let's get on the horn together. Let's figure out where we're going to go first and how we're going to build this community, one step at a time.
All right.
Let's do it, guys.
See y'all later.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.